Yesterday on the show we talked about some of the most common articulation alterations, the substitutions, the additions and the affectations. Today, the distortions, omissions and syllable errors. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart. So those distortions, either in vowels or consonants, sometimes down of course to a regional accent, may be such as a lisp when says become theth, or vowel distortions, said becomes sid, as again, I say, it could be down to an accent. We spoke a few days ago, didn't we, about Bailey on the beach, the New Zealand person who was saying the word beach, and it came out as another unfortunate kind of word sound instead, which caused a few problems for the radio station. Go back and listen to that episode, Bailey on the beach, about a week, 10 days ago, I believe. Omissions. So, as well as distortions, you could have omissions or deletions when certain sounds aren't included. Cut for cup, asked for asked, dropping the ing from words, such as in the word dropping. So dropping becomes drop-in, or dropping the L when metal or metal becomes metal, and special is special. Yeah? And again, we've looked at this several times before. I am not saying that you need to pronounce every single letter in every single word, because that would sound very affected and wrong and from the 1950s and terribly, terribly polite, which is wrong. We have elision, which means that the words do tend to merge into one another. Again, it's down to communication. Have you got the correct communication for the audience you're speaking to, the message that you want to deliver to them, and is that message going to be understood? And therefore, it's absolutely fine to talk however you want if your message is being understood, if you are communicating. Okay, here's another omission in shortening words. So, for example, probable instead of probable, or mir or mirror instead of mirror. Yeah? It's an awkward one to say, but I have said it before, or I've heard it before, and it's difficult for me to get wrong. Okay, you may have heard some people have trouble with the word squirrel, or something like that. Gosh, I'm finding myself pronouncing every single letter now. Obviously, there are some accepted differences. In the UK, the metal aluminium is aluminium, and in the US, it's aluminum. And I actually understand that it was aluminum to begin with, as the original word, and it was the Brits that added the extra I for some reason. I don't know why, but that's quite interesting. And also the syllable errors as well. So when weak syllables are left out of the pronunciation. So someone phones you on the telephone instead of telephone. Yeah, you wouldn't say telephone, obviously. You might say phone or telephone, but yeah, some people kind of shorten that or mix and merge it even more so. Or misunderstanding Expresso for a coffee rather than an espresso. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? As well as etc. rather than et cetera. Or nuclear instead of nuclear. Forgive me if I'm coming over as pedantic, and I'm not, trying to say that if you use any of those, you're wrong, you're bad, or anything like that. I'm merely highlighting, again, that it's often useful to know of the kinds of issues that are around, so you know what goes on under the bonnet. Yeah, so you know about the different kind of forms of diction and articulation and so on that is available. So maybe you don't slip into what you may consider to be bad habits, what other people may consider to be bad habits as well. And if that, as I say, costs you a job, a gig, an on-air performance or something like that, if you're not being able to be understood, that may cause a problem. So there you go. So there are some articulation alterations. Tomorrow on the show, overcoming articulation issues. And don't please write to me if you hear me use any of those articulation problems in the future. As long as you can understand, that's the main thing. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.